Hello, and welcome to Time Between Times, storytelling, with me, Owen Staton. The wind howls like a long-lost wolf outside. The trees shake and stutter. The rain beats down like thunder upon the roof. And far away, the thunder sounds like the rumble of gods throwing boulders in the sky. There has never been a better time for stories. Never a better time for tales. Never a better time to gather and sing old songs. But there, you have to be careful. Nid wy'n gofyn bywyd moethus, air y byd, na'i berlau man. Gofyn rwyf am galon hapus, calon honest, calon lan. One of my oldest, most favourite Welsh hymns, Calon Lan, is sung all over the world, at sporting events, in churches, in chapels, wherever Welsh people gather. But there is an old creepy tale associated with it, from the village of Pontrhydyfen in the Afan Valley, famous for being the birthplace of Richard Burton, Ivor Emmanuel. This village, nestled amongst great mountains and sweeping forests, is home to many people, and a small inn called the Collier's Arms. It was here, almost 100 years ago, that Rhysien Wen and his brother Henry had gathered to say goodbye to Rhysien, for he was a wool trader, going to Swansea on a cart full of sheep's wool and taking his goods there for a few days. Although it was only about 15 miles away, the road was treacherous, twisting and turning, and he wished to go there. But anyway, their tale will be told by me. But before I do, sit back, relax, and listen. For tales are always told at the time between times, the time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey, the time when the veil between our world and the fairy world grows wafer thin. So sit back and listen to the singing voices in the Collier's Arms. Listen as Rhysien and his brother Henry sing and dance with beer in one hand and the remains of a meal in the other. They will not see each other for a while. Let your imagination go back through the years to that place, that time, and let all your cares and worries wash away. But let us join them for a night that would change Rhysien's life forever. The church bells struck midnight far away, and he hugged his brother Henry. It would be a week before he saw him again. He staggered outside. Everyone was still singing and dancing, and the piano could be heard playing back in the Colliers. He staggered onto the road, nothing more than dirt and mud. A few horses had gathered outside. He looked at the houses in the village. A few small lights flickered in the windows, but mostly they were asleep. He started to sing himself, but then realised that he had to calm down, be quiet, for people were aslumber in their houses. His house was about 1.5 miles away down a forest path. Could be treacherous at dark. Many people had said that a spectral rider had been seen going up and down the paths. Many people had said that the Tylwyth Teg often gathered in a small clearing far away, but they are tales for another night. For Rhysien wandered down the path, staggering as he did. He had gone about 1/2 mile, when in the distance, through the trees that covered like a many-pillared hallway, he heard a voice singing far away. Calon lan yn llawn dda o ni, Tecach yw na lili dlos, dim ond calon lan all gani, Gan i'r dydd a chan i'r nos. He was amazed, for he would know that voice anywhere. That was the soothing, singing voice of his brother Henry, who he had left but 30 minutes before. It seemed to come from all around him, and he looked from one side of the path to the other. In between the notes, the sweet sounds of the song, he could hear the water in the river running not far away, and decided that his brother must be down there, late at night. But how had he got there before Rission? He clambered down off the path. He could feel all the bushes pulling at his legs, until he saw the river in front of him. An old stone bridge crossed at this part. Fishermen were often seen, but now it was dark and the moon shone off the water. It was a cold, bitter night. Although clear, it almost felt like there was snow in the air. Galon lan and llawn dau o ni. Rission heard the song once more. He reached the riverbank and looked up and down. And there, atop the old stone bridge, he saw his brother sitting on the stone. "Hey, Henry, how have you come here? Before I have, you must be moving very swiftly," said Rission. He looked away and then reached up to clamber onto the bridge himself. Although he only took his eyes off his brother for a second, as he looked back, his brother had gone. For a few seconds, the song seemed to echo in the air. Galon lan and llawn dau o ni. Rission walked over the stone bridge. He could feel the stone cold against his booted feet. But of his brother there was no sign. He clambered back up to the forest path and made his way back home, slept off his drink, and awoke the following morning. It was early when he pitched his cart full of wool. He hoped to get to Swansea before any snow blocked the roads, and left. Down the valley he travelled, through the village of Carmarthen, Goitre, till he came to Aberavon and made his way to Swansea. It was late the following night when he arrived, and the snow was falling like a blanket. He made his way to a small boarding house that he knew well, and spent the night. The next morning the snow was thick on the ground. There was no way he could move his cart or go to the market. 3 days he waited before the snow had thawed enough for him to move again. Then, selling all his wool, he started to make his way back to Pontrhydyfen once more. He had to stop again in the village of Baglan as the weather became bad, spend a night there, till almost 5 days had passed before he returned home. The old chapel is the first building you see on the right as you approach the village, and as his cart made its clip-clopping way above the hill, he could hear that inside there was a service going on. Galon lan yn llawn dau o ni, tegach yw na'r lilidlos, dim ond calon lan all gan i'r dydd a chan i'r nos. It was not a Sunday, but he walked through the doors of the church, the chapel, to find out what had gone on, and was horrified to see a coffin and a congregation. It took him not long to learn that the coffin was that of his brother Henry, who had died in a collier's suddenly, only moments after Rission had left. Now they were singing the same hymn that he heard across the spiritual pathways those nights before at his brother's funeral. Rission was never the same again, and that song never passed his lips ever again. He never took that woodland path or that old stone bridge, and always remembered his brother, with his fine singing voice, who seemed to warn him of his own death all those years ago. And that, my friends, is the song, the tale of the spiritual song. A song from beyond the grave, caustic chorus, heard from the other world. Thank you, my friends, for joining me here at the time between times, the time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. I also have a podcast. If you wish to listen to the stories longer, different stories, please join me there at the Time Between Times podcast. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to buy me a coffee, ko-fi.co.uk / no, it's ko-fi.com /Owenstaton. I'll get it right one day. Follow me on Twitter at Owen S. Griffiths, or write me an email at owenstaton@aol.com. I thank you for joining me here at the Time Between Times. Until next time, take care.